Tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour, the mystery of Ron Hynes' lost jacket. His nephew searches for answers ahead of an exhibit for the man of 1,000 songs.
It's a classic biker-style 50s jacket. It's got a red liner.
The arts community mourns the loss of Wendi Smallwood. And don't throw out your lithium-ion batteries. The fire department issues a warning after this weekend's landfill fire.
So that's something we really want to avoid, and we want the public to be aware of, not to throw these batteries in the household waste.
Temperatures a little cooler. We've got some rain in the forecast overnight tonight and into tomorrow for a good bit of Newfoundland and Labrador. Strong winds as well for the Rec House area. I'll have all the details for you coming up shortly.
The award-winning NTV Evening News Hour with Tony Marie Wiseman, Michael Connors, and your weather forecast with Ryan Harding.
Good evening. The songwriting legacy of Newfoundland and Labrador music legend Ron Hynes will soon be commemorated at the Rooms in St. John's.
But there is still a bit of a mystery to be solved. As part of the display, Ron Hynes' nephew is looking for an item that was a big part of his creative genius and has been missing for over a decade. NTV's Rosie Mullally spoke with Joel Thomas Hynes today about his search for Ron's old leather jacket.
I have all this stuff, and it's just sitting there at my house, and I want the public to be able to enjoy it.
From jewelry to guitars, Joel Thomas Hynes has plenty to remember his uncle, the late great singer-songwriter Ron Hynes. But there's one vintage item he desperately would love to have, one that has no monetary value but is priceless to him.
It's a classic biker-style 50s jacket. It's got a red liner. It's, you know, one of those hood coats from the 50s. My grandfather bought it in Montreal, wore it whenever he wasn't working, and he wore it all throughout my childhood.
The leather jacket is a special family heirloom, having been passed down through the generations, first going to Ron in the early 2000s, then to Joel, back to Ron before being handed to Ron's daughter Lily.
Ron wore it when he was feeling badass, and when he was doing a more rockin' set. I wore it through some tough times, and Ron wore it through some tough times, and my grandfather and Lily, his daughter Lily, and we all loved that jacket, and it's as simple as that.
But somehow the beat-up jacket with a cracked leather collar and broken zippers vanished and hasn't been seen since Ron's passing in 2015. Besides a personal attachment to it, Hynes would also love to have it to include in an upcoming display at the Rooms, which will focus on Ron's songwriting legacy. Known as the man of 1,000 songs, Ron Hynes was one of Canada's premier singer-songwriters with a career that spanned over 3 decades. The display will include a listening booth in which people can hear demos and versions of unreleased songs, such as the first recording of Sonny's Dream in 1976. It will also display handwritten lyric sheets, Ron's first guitar, some iconic jewelry, and his hat. The leather jacket, Hynes says, would make it complete.
I really would love to have that jacket to include in that display.
Since posting about the jacket on his Facebook page, Hynes has received dozens of leads. He doesn't think anyone stole it, but hopes the person who has it will come forward. Hynes has something to give in return. A new Master Supply Co. leather jacket with tags still attached.
I'm willing to trade that for my grandfather's old jacket.
Hynes hopes to find the jacket before the display is launched at the Rooms in the next couple of months. Information, he said, can be left on his Facebook Messenger. It's all in an effort, he says, to share a part of the man who pumped out some of the greatest songs this province has ever known. Rosie Mullally, NTV News.
The local film and theater communities are mourning the loss of one of their own today. St. John's actor, director, and producer Wendi Smallwood has passed away from cancer at the age of 64. Here's NTV's Amanda Muse.
Social media posts filled with memories and condolences flooded social media today with the news of Wendi Smallwood's death. Smallwood was a fixture on both the stage and screen, as well as behind the scenes as a director and producer. Starting with Mun drama in the 1980s, she has been equally present in theater productions as well as on screen, in shows like Republic of Doyle and The Mrs. Downstairs. One of her most recent roles was as May Skinner in the critically acclaimed film Skeet. Her raw performance a testament to her talent and fine-tuned skill.
I'll get sick. I'll get real sick, though. You don't want Mom getting sick now, do you?
Wendi was dedicated to her craft and community, starting the St. John's Women's Festival of Theatre, or SWIFT, in 2011, a company showcasing women in theatre. Wendi also became a founding member and artistic director of V-Day St. John's, whose mission it is to raise funds and bring awareness to violence against women. Wendi Smallwood received a cancer diagnosis in April of 2024 and celebrated her 64th birthday on June the 6th. For NTV News, I'm Amanda Muse.
The St. John's Regional Fire Department is asking residents not to throw lithium-ion batteries. This after a fire at the Robin Hood Bay Landfill on Sunday spread smoke over much of the east end of St. John's. Here is NTV's Ben Cleary with more.
A fire at the Robin Hood Bay Landfill is messy. Garbage full of plastics and whatever else is tossed out burns hot and thick. Like this fire on Sunday, it blanketed the east end of the city in smoke and was extinguished after hours of work from city crews and firefighters.
So a fire in the landfill is quite complicated on times. Sometimes they're deep-seated, sometimes they're on the surface. We go down and we suppress the fire with water, and the city actually has numerous heavy equipment that they provide fill to cover the fire and smother the fire.
The fire at Robin Hood Bay was eventually put out after crews buried it under gravel. Deputy Fire Chief Paul Chater says it's impossible to know exactly how the fire started, but he says a likely cause is lithium-ion batteries thrown in the trash. The batteries can be found in things like toys, vaping products, cell phones, and power tools. Chater says they can overheat and cause a fire.
When the heavy equipment runs over these batteries in the landfill, they ignite, okay? They catch on fire or they explode. So that creates a problem for us down there because any combustible material that's in the landfill or adjacent to these batteries catches on fire. So that's something we really want to avoid, and we want the public to be aware of, not to throw these batteries in the household waste.
The deputy fire chief says it's not just lithium-ion batteries that need to be properly disposed of. He says another common cause of fires in landfills is flares. Flares that have reached their expiry but are still thrown away can be set off and start a blaze as well.
So what the flares are flares that people use out on their boats and, you know, for signaling flares for emergency, stuff like that. These flares expire, and what ends up happening sometimes is people even throw these flares in their garbage, and they end up in the landfill. So they themselves are causing some of the fires down at the landfill. So along with lithium-ion batteries, if you can keep the flares out of the landfill, the St. John's Regional Fire Department will certainly appreciate it.
Instead of being thrown in the trash, the City of St. John's says batteries and other hazardous wastes should be brought to the Household Hazardous Waste Depot here at Robin Hood Bay Landfill. Ben Cleary, NTV News.
A collision on the Trans-Canada Highway late this afternoon, just 10 kilometers east of Gander, forced the closure of the highway in both directions. But as of an hour ago, the highway fully reopened. Police are also advising drivers, especially those in large or commercial vehicles, of high winds in the wreck house area of the Trans-Canada Highway. While the highway is open, drivers are asked to use caution with winds reaching 120 kilometers an hour today. Strong winds can cause high-sided vehicles to be pushed around. The RSCMP is asking drivers to consider delaying travel in the area until the wind advisory ends later this evening.
The provincial government has filed a request to intervene in a hearing on the designation of Marine Atlantic as an essential service. The province says while it respects the collective bargaining process underway between Marine Atlantic and Unifor, it is concerned the corporation's long-standing designation as an essential service could be reconsidered by the Canada Industrial Relations Board. The province says that could shift how essential services are defined for Marine Atlantic and affect long-term service reliability, with the ferry service transporting food, fuel, and medical supplies, as well as supporting healthcare, supply chain, and public safety in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Fuel prices are down across the island, but there was a big increase in parts of Labrador overnight. The price of gas on the island decreased by 2.4 cents a litre, diesel is down by 5.2 cents, and furnace oil fell by over 4 cents. But for much of central and southern Labrador, the lifting of the winter fuel price freeze has sent prices soaring by roughly 40 cents a litre. That's because of the spring resupply of motor fuel to the region. Western Labrador did see price decreases. Diesel dropped by almost 7 cents a litre, and stove oil was down by 7.42 cents. The next price adjustment is expected tomorrow.
Tonight's business report is brought to you by the Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Looking for energy savings and rebates for your business? Start by talking to the Take Charge team.
And a drop in oil prices led North American markets to close mixed today. The TSX was up 114 points to 35,390. The Venture Exchange up 6 points to 986. The Dow was up 329 to 52,000 even, but the Nasdaq fell 308 to 26,376. Gold up $21.79 to $4,333.48 U.S. an ounce. Brent crude oil down $3.50 to $79.67 U.S. per barrel. The Canadian dollar down 0.06 to 71.44 cents U.S. Fortis dropped by 26 cents a share to $79.96. Labrador iron ore up 57 cents to $29.38, and Altius up by $1.05, closing at $60.98.
Tonight's weather brought to you by...
Check out the GMC 0% event. Get 0% financing on select 2026 GMC models and trims. See your dealer for details.
Well, it was a nice start to the day, but as I was doing the lunchtime news, you could see the fog rolling in on the road cameras.
And what happens when the fog rolls in? The temperature plummets. Sharon Snow is outside. She can tell you, it might say it's 7 degrees. Doesn't really feel like 7, though, does it, Sharon?
No, it doesn't feel like 7 degrees. It feels much cooler than that. And I'm really glad that I brought a blanket with me this evening, Tony. And you're right, Michael, I saw that fog hovering this morning as I came in to work. And it's still there, just letting us know we're going to move in soon. We've got that cloud cover, of course, now very cloudy, feeling much cooler. We've got rain overnight tonight, and it's going to continue into tomorrow. About 10 to 15 millimeters expected. So there's that. And then for the Rec House area, expect gusting up to about 110 kilometers per hour. So it's kind of wet and windy for tomorrow. But take heart, there is some sunshine the following day. So let's take a look. Let's get into it. Well, satellite and radar imagery showing you this. Rain moving in fact, parts of the island portion of the province seeing rain today, and it's going to continue into tomorrow as it still remains quite active weather. For the island portion now moving in, and that's expected for tomorrow with more clouds in the overnight and tomorrow as well. So let's take a look at the temperatures. First of all, overnight tonight for Gander and East ranging from 5 to 8 degrees. We've got rain in the south coast. Winds out of the southeast gusting to about 30 kilometers per hour in the overnight. Tomorrow up to 8 for Gander, 12 in Marystown, 12 in Grand Bank, Trepassey at 11. 7 degrees for St. John's. We're going to start off with some scattered showers, and that will end as the day goes on. 8 degrees is the high for Gander. For the west coast, central Newfoundland, and the northern peninsula, overnight lows from 4 to 8 degrees. There's that rain steady into Port aux Basques. into Grand Falls, Windsor, though, mostly cloudy skies, and 8 in the overnight. Tomorrow's high for Central, 11 degrees, 12 in Corner Brook, and 11 for Port aux Basques area. Temperatures a little cooler in St. Anthony with some scattered showers and a high of 5 degrees. Now for Labrador, overnight tonight along the coast, temperatures from 4 to 6 degrees, 9 in Churchill Falls, 8 if you're in Lab City Walbush in the overnight. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 9. We've got winds out of the east, southeast, not too bad, about 20 kilometers along the coast. Tomorrow's highs, though, up from 8 in Nain, 13 in Cartwright. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 12. Churchill Falls and Lab City Walbush, 13 and 15 degrees expected for tomorrow. And now the extended forecast for eastern Newfoundland. Temperatures cool tomorrow at 7 degrees up to 12 on Thursday. We've got clouds for Friday and temperatures 17 and 16 degrees for the weekend, Father's Day weekend upon us. For central Newfoundland, temperatures from 14 up to 20 degrees. So the weekend doesn't come with some sunshine in central, but pretty nice temperatures at 20 degrees. For western Newfoundland, some sunshine for Thursday, and highs ranging from 15 to 17 degrees for the west coast of the province. Labrador west, temperatures at 14 to 16 degrees, some intermittent shower activity taking you through to Thursday with some clouds on Friday and Saturday. And finally, eastern Labrador, temperatures from 5 to 15 degrees with some clouds on Friday and some scattered showers on the weekend. All right, I'm going to get comfy here now. In the chair, we have our popcorn. I'm ready. I've got nice warm blanket, Michael and Tony. So Gaylyn Gulliver is here with us, and we have been talking in First Edition, and we come to realize that this is the 19th year for Real Downtown. That's exciting.
It sure is exciting. And I tell you what, one thing about 19 years, we've had people that started with us from the very first season and are still coming after 19 years. And the other thing after 19 years, sometimes it's difficult to get movies.
But you're taking care of that, I know. So tell us about the lineup that we can expect.
So we're going to start, first of all, with this movie we're so happy to have. It's locally made, internationally renowned, Skeet. Right. So that was in the cinemas here. It's a fabulous movie. So we're going to show that July 6th, because we're every Monday in July, right? Starting at about 9 p.m., which is about dusk. So then I'm going to fast forward to July 20th, when we're going to show Michael, which is, you know, the life and times of Michael Jackson, musical biography type stuff. So it should be a lot of fun. If people want to, you know, dress up like Michael or do anything to participate like that, they certainly can. And of course, we have 2 more dates. There's one more we have to confirm. We're working on the licensing, so we're going to wait a little bit on that. But the 4th movie is And Choice. Yay! So this is where we show some really fun movies like Back to the Future, The Goonies, Grease, all those movies. Like, well, there were a lot of 80s movies. We consider them retro, but we've gone through them all. So now we're into the 90s retro. I can't believe 90s is retro.
Honestly, and I feel over that time that people have come, it's a part of their tradition, right? And so let's talk about that. There are all kinds and sorts of people who come, families, maybe it's their first date and they decided to come down, but encourage you to bring your chair, and if you have to dress warmly, no trouble, just do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, you can see we're sitting here in your chairs with your blankets. You know, again, we start at 9 p.m. We're here at the bottom of Solomon's Lane on Water Street. Admission is free, but certainly don't wait until the last minute to come down. We're here from about 6 o'clock on. You can come down, get your favorite spot, bring your chair, the street is closed, go enjoy some great food downtown and enjoy the whole experience and come back. We've had people, again, like you said, their first time, and they've been here the whole time. We've had like wedding proposals here. There's been like some really great things that have happened in the last 19 years in Real Downtown. It's a real community event, but not for the community, we would not be here. So we're thankful that everybody shows up year after year, and for you guys for always helping us get the word out.
Well, we're so happy to do that. I love coming down here and taking part in that. And I just love, as well, of course, the pedestrian mall going to be open shortly. So there's that added excitement. And I think you can see as you're driving up Water Street now, you see businesses and restaurants have things getting prepared for that. And that's pretty exciting too, isn't it?
It creates an atmosphere and a vibe that's not available anywhere else in the city, you know, so it's wonderful to have that for a couple of months. Again, it starts on June 25th, goes for the whole summer till just after Labor Day. You know, people are set up right now already. Certainly don't wait. If we got nice days between now and June 25th, come down and enjoy a great meal on a patio. And, you know, people watch. It's a place to be, you know.
It's a place to go.
It's a place to go.
It's a place to go.
It certainly is. So, you know, that creates a whole atmosphere and a whole vibe down here as well. And that'll be going on during the real downtown. So it's something for everybody.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see you and talk with you. So there you go. We know what we're going to be doing every Monday in July. Michael and Tony, we're going to be right here at Reels downtown. So it's quite comfortable here now, even though it's a little cool outside, but with a blanket, and it feels quite cozy. I'll throw it back to you in the studio, where it's also cozy.
It is cozy. Thanks so much, Sharon. Travelers heading to this province may face limited rental car options as the demand has outpaced availability. Garrett Barry has that story.
Home to off-road vehicles, side-by-sides and motorcycles, this dealership near the center of St. John's is expanding to fill one of this city's highest demands, rental cars.
We realized that there was a need there. People are away from their families, you know, working. They come back here to the province and they need rentals, and it seems like there's none to get.
High demand to see this province's natural treasures has frustrated some travelers. Others are going the extra mile to secure their ride.
We have some regulars that have booked years in advance.
And if you can't get a car here, good luck at the mainstream agencies. Canadian rental car guru Bob Hoke says availability on the East Coast is as low as ever, thanks to falling vehicle production and more Canadians wanting to stay inside the country.
This year it's just kind of boiled over the top, and vehicles until late summer are non-existent.
To go see some of this province's biggest attractions like whales or icebergs or puffins, you really might need a vehicle. Tourism operators say they're losing out on money when prospective clients try to book in Newfoundland and Labrador and can't find wheels to get around.
That's why this issue has gone all the way to the cabinet table in this province.
It's a good problem to have, that's for sure.
Tourism Minister Andrea Barber says the best solution is expanding off-season travel, keeping those rental cars moving all year round. Right now, the rental car giants tell her it's just too expensive to have full parking lots in the winter.
The cars are just going to sit there, rust, and the maintenance, it's just the cost is too high.
Freshwater Motorplex has 5 cars in its rental fleet, but staff are keeping one eye on expanding if demand stays high enough to make insurance and maintenance costs worth it. Garrett Barry, CTV News, St. John's.
Point Leamington is holding a vote this week asking residents if they support or oppose a proposed wind energy project. Today, the area MHA says the province is providing oversight and ensuring the processes are followed. NTV's Colleen Lewis has more.
The decision to build a wind farm and ammonia plant in the Bay of Exploits region has caused division. So much so, the town of Point Leamington is holding a vote to find out whether the majority of its residents are for or against the project. A public meeting was recently cancelled in the town after 2 local MHAs were unable to attend. But Forestry Minister and MHA Pleeman Forsey says he's confident the province is providing the necessary oversight through the environmental assessment process.
My view hasn't changed regardless to the wind energy. I say we welcome new industry, but we also have to protect our environment, and that's through the environment assessment process. So we'll continue to be vigilant and provide oversight to ensure that the processes are followed.
In the town of Northern Arm, council is gathering letters from its residents and asking questions of Everick. But many people in the region have expressed concern they don't feel their voices have been heard. Minister Forsey says he gets calls nearly every day.
We're waiting for the report to come back, and we say the same as the residents, the towns, because they're holding their votes and that kind of stuff. So they have concerns. People have concerns. I've heard on both sides, some negative and positive. I've heard both sides. So it's, so everybody's interest of what the impact statements will provide. I've talked to communities, so I do have conversations with communities and residents on a daily basis, basically, of what they feel and some of their concerns and the pros and cons of it.
For the communities in the district where the conversation has gotten heated, the MHA says he's encouraging municipalities to keep the lines of communication open.
Of course, I mean, say, as long as they're having their consultations and communications with their residents, they'll get more of an understanding, both sides probably, of what's happening there. So as long as they keep the communication lines open, well, that's the best that can happen.
The results from the vote in Point Leamington will be known later this week. For NTV News, I'm Colleen Lewis in Grand Falls, Windsor.
The Canada Newfoundland and Labrador Offshore Energy Regulator will be hosting a series of public information sessions on the Bay du Nord project as part of its public review. The sessions, hosted by a third-party facilitator, will give participants a chance to learn more about the proposed project, ask questions and share their views. The public review period runs from June 22nd to August 20th. It will include virtual sessions on June 22nd and 25th and in-person sessions in Clarenville, Marystown, Corner Brook, Gander and St. John's in the coming weeks. Registration and more information can be found on the Energy Regulator's website.
The official's Salt Dome power generation project in Bay St. George has been registered with the province, marking the beginning of the environmental assessment process. The registration covers a proposed salt cavern development, compressed air storage, and associated infrastructure in western Newfoundland. Triple Point Resources says the registration follows several years of geological analysis, engineering studies, and environmental planning activities. The company says the project has the potential to become an underground energy storage asset for Atlantic Canada. All interested parties now have a chance to review the registration documents and submit comments to the provincial government during the public review period, helping inform the province's decision on whether the project will proceed or if further review is needed.
The RNC has charged the St. John's man with drug trafficking after police were called to a home on Elizabeth Avenue last week. Inside that home, officers saw drugs and weapons, which led to the arrest of 40-year-old Robert White. Several items were seized, including cocaine, money, a knife, and bear spray. White was held to appear in court on charges of possessing a controlled drug for trafficking, possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, and breaches of a release order.
Still ahead in tonight's news. As the World Cup continues, Mark Dwyer looks back at Canada's soccer memories. Mary Kate O'Neill tells us about the Polka Dot Trot in your community. And when we come back on the Inside Story, more on landfill fire hazards. This is the NTV Evening News Hour. Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. Tonight on the Inside Story, this weekend's fire at the Robin Hood Bay landfill had the fire department calling on the public not to put lithium-ion batteries in the trash. Here's more of Ben Cleary's interview with Deputy Fire Chief Paul Chater.
What should the public know? How do these fires typically start, and what can the public do to curb them from happening?
Well, one thing about these fires is, I can only speculate, and this is my belief, is that some of these fires are caused by lithium-ion batteries. So they're the batteries that we use every day in our households that make our lives convenient now, our vacuum cleaners, our drills, our saws, and all of the lithium-ion batteries that are associated with that. Unfortunately, sometimes these batteries end up in the landfill, and when the heavy equipment runs over these batteries in the landfill, they ignite, okay? They catch on fire or they explode. So that creates a problem for us down there, because any combustible material that's in the landfill or adjacent to these batteries catches on fire. So that's something we really want to avoid, and we want the public to be aware of, not to throw these batteries in the household waste. Go dispose of these batteries in the proper disposal sites at the landfill area and make sure they're disposed properly.
How does a fire at the dump change the way your department operates? Because I imagine the smoke coming from those fires is a little more dangerous, a little more toxic than, say, a grass fire.
Well, every fire has smoke associated with it, and that is a concern. You know, if people are concerned about the smoke, you know, they can stay in their houses, shelter in place, so to speak, turn off their HVAC units and stuff like that, and just stay inside till the smoke clears. The other day when we had this fire, the ceiling, the cloud ceiling was very low, so the smoke really had nowhere to go and was hanging out in the city a little bit. So it takes a while for that to dissipate from the environment. It's no different than any other fire that we have in the city, whether it's a house fire or structure fire or car fire or anything. Is very similar. It's just unfortunately the environment that day was conducive of that smoke hanging around, right?
What are some other safety tips that you would like for the public to know? I mean, it's a beautiful sunny day out there, so summer's coming along. What would you like the public to know?
Well, if we're talking about the lithium-ion batteries, I'd just like for the public to be aware that we want to enjoy our summer holidays. We don't want smoke hanging around the city, obviously. So just be cognizant of the fact that keep these batteries out of the landfill, and hopefully we have clean, fresh air out there on a regular basis going through the summer.
And just for like a stats-wise, how often do you guys respond to a fire at Robin Hood Bay?
Well, I can only speculate right now. I don't have the stats in front of me, but we normally go down there 3 to 4 times a year, right? But we work in conjunction with the city staff down at the landfill in order to suppress these fires.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is meeting with several world leaders today at the G7 summit in France, speaking with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, as well as getting a quick conversation in with Donald Trump. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more.
As G7 leaders prepared for their working lunch, Prime Minister Mark Carney took advantage of the moment to talk trade with U.S. President Donald Trump. In an apparent reference to the amount of Chinese electric vehicles Canada agreed to let into the country in January, Carney conveyed to Trump how little he believes it would affect the North American market. The agreement with China would allow for the annual import of 49,000 Chinese-manufactured EVs into Canada. In exchange, China lowered tariffs on a number of Canadian products, including canola. Also in Evian, Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and lead trade negotiator Janice Charette met with their American counterparts.
We talked about a number of other issues that the United States raises with us, but we also talked about issues that are important to Canadian workers and the Canadian economy.
Now, after securing the deal with Iran, Trump's focus shifted to Ukraine. Following a meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky on the margins of the G7 summit, Trump had this message for Vladimir Putin.
Russia should make a deal. Russia's lost tremendous amounts of people, and so has Ukraine.
Ukraine will win. It's just a question of time.
To help make that happen, Canada announced additional sanctions against 162 Russian individuals and entities targeting the Russian war machine. And President Zelensky feels a new sense of momentum towards a resolution.
It's great that everybody's understanding. Yeah. And it's great that Russia is not winning, and we have to push Putin to end this war.
G7 leaders will continue their meetings on Wednesday, but there are no plans for Trump and Carney to sit down together. But as we saw today, that doesn't mean they won't have important discussions, even if they're brief. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, near Evian, France.
Tonight's weather is brought to you in part by your Atlantic Ford store. Certified expertise, verified for your Ford. Keep your Ford a Ford.
Well, current temperature 5 degrees right now, and you can feel the rain is not too far away here in downtown St. John's at this hour. We've got that rain continuing, and it's going to continue into tomorrow for a good part of the island portion of the province. Cooler temperatures as well. Parts of Labrador cool in the overnight, but you will see some sporadic sunshine for tomorrow. Let's take a look. And here we go. Look at this beautiful shot, but you can see that fog just in the distance. It's been hovering there literally all day. and it's been making temperatures feel a little cooler. It's got that little chill in the air as a result of that hovering fog. Let's take a look at some current conditions now across North America. Montreal at 23, Halifax at 21, Charlottetown 17 today, Thunder Bay 13, Winnipeg at 22, Regina 17, 15 in Calgary, 21 in Vancouver, now south of the border. Of course, pretty nice temperatures, 31 in Dallas, Atlanta 21, Tampa 32, Nassau a mix of sun and cloud and 31 degrees. Well, it's not 31 degrees here on the east coast of the province in the overnight hours, or tomorrow for that matter. We've got 5 degrees as the low for St. John's, Gander at 5 as well. Some showers for Marystown in the south, and overnight low at 8 degrees. Tomorrow's highs up to 12 for the south coast, 7 for St. John's and the Avalon, Gander at 8. We've got winds out of the east-southeast about 30 kilometers per hour. For the west coast, central Newfoundland and the northern peninsula, overnight lows from 4 to 8 degrees. Showers for Port aux Basques area as well for the west coast. Clouds for central Newfoundland overnight tonight, tomorrow up to 11 degrees for Grand Falls, Windsor and area, 5 for St. Anthony, 12 in Corner Brook and 11 in Port aux Basques with some scattered showers, continuing the winds about 10 kilometers per hour. For Labrador now, overnight tonight, 4 to 6 along the coast, further inland, and Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 9 in the overnight. That temperature steady into Churchill Falls and Lab City, Walbush, shower activity in the overnight and a low of 8 degrees tomorrow. Up to 8 in Nain, 13 if you're in Cartwright tomorrow. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 12, 13 for Churchill Falls, 15 for Labrador City, Walbush. It comes with some scattered sunshine and a little bit of rain as well. The extended forecast, 5 days, looking at eastern Newfoundland. Temperatures ranging from a cool 7 degrees up to 17 on Saturday. We've got some scattered shower activity, but some sunshine is promised for Saturday and Sunday. And the east coast for central Newfoundland, temperatures ranging from 14 to 20, some clouds on Saturday, some scattered showers on Friday for central. For western Newfoundland, 13 to a high at 17 degrees, some scattered showers. Really is the order of business for the day for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the west coast of the province. For Labrador West now, from 14 up to 18 degrees, some clouds on the weekend, a little bit of sunshine expected on Sunday. It will come with some scattered showers. And finally, eastern Labrador, temperatures from a cool 5 on Sunday to a high of 15 on Friday. It comes with a little bit of sunshine, some clouds expected for Friday.
And we are going to take a short break on this edition of the NTV Evening News Hour, but do stay with us. When we come back, Mark Dwyer is going to be here with this week's On the Mark, and he's going to look back to 1985 and a soccer game that made history.
Your community, brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
The Cancer Care Foundation is inviting people right across the province to lace up and make a difference tonight in your community. NTV's Mary Kate O'Neill gives us the details about the annual Polka Dot Trot.
Today we're here at Paradise Park talking about the 2026 Polka Dot Trot. And joining me today with the Cancer Care Foundation is Laura and Kelly. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, it's such a nice day here despite it being a little bit chilly. And hopefully we'll have some nicer weather come September time for the Polka Dot Trot. But Laura, I'm going to start with yourself here now to talk about the registration, which is now open so people can get involved, which is really exciting. Tell me how people can actually register for the Polka Dot Trot this year.
It launched today. www.polkadottrot.org is our website, and you can sign up online. It's $28 to register. Gets you a t-shirt in the color of your choice for the cancer that's touched your life the most, plus your medal, and you get to come out and celebrate on one day all together.
And it's an amazing event here in the St. John's Metro region, but of course it's not just in the St. John's Metro region this year. There's actually a Western Trot happening. So tell us about that.
This is our 10th year of the Polka Dot Trot, so we're so happy to expand to the west coast of the province for the first time. We're in Corner Brook on September 20th this year.
And Kelly, I'm going to come to you here now about what the funds raised from the Polka Dot Trot actually do for the Cancer Care Foundation so people can get some intel of where all this money goes.
Yeah, for sure. So
the Polka Dot Trot is the Cancer Care Foundation's signature event, and Cancer Care Foundation in this province, we take care of all of the 4 cancer centers in the province: Corner Brook, Grand Falls, Gander, and at the Dr. H. Murphy Cancer Center. And we also take care of the 11 chemo sites here in the province, and I don't think people are aware of that. So all the money that's raised goes directly to support the cancer patients and their families through financial support, purchasing of equipment, comfort and care items. So it's an array of things for sure.
So of course, so many people and so many organizations and help goes into making the Polka Dot Trot happen every year. So tell me how you wouldn't be able to pull it off without all those helping hands.
Yeah, we have a tremendous amount of donor support, and the Polka Dot Trot this year is being sponsored and presented by Lux. They have come on board again this year. They were a sponsor last year, and they were so impressed with the walk that they continue to do it again this year.
So if people want to take part in the trot this year, or the Western one, or St. John's Metro one, how can they get some more information?
They can go to polkadottrot.org.
Perfect. Thank you both so much for joining me here today at Paradise Park, and we're really looking forward to the Polka Dot Trot come September.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's what's happening in your community. For NTV News, I'm Mary Kate O'Neill.
Movie and music news now. Here's CNN's Douglas Hyde with today's Hollywood Minute.
Hot 100. It's Taylor's 15th chart-topping song. Only the Beatles and Mariah Carey have more.
This is not over. Not by a long shot.
And the Duffer Brothers' career is not over by a long shot either. Now that Stranger Things is wrapped, the hit show's creators are turning their attention to the big screen. Paramount Pictures just announced the duo's next project will be, quote, an event film set for release November 2028. No word yet on what it's about. Details are as mysterious as the Upside Down. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
Stay with us while we take one more break on the NTV Evening News Hour. Sharon Snow will be back to recap the weather forecast. Still quite foggy outside in St. John's. And when we return, Jim Furlong will have Today in History.
Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. It was on this date that we began broadcasting on the West Coast. Here is Jim Furlong with Today in History.
Corner Brook, Newfoundland. Why are we looking at aerial shots of Corner Brook today? Well, we want to tell you part of our story. Our, the CJON television, now NTV. If you're a Corner Brook resident, you might remember 1959. You remember TV. You remember Romper Room. You remember News Cavalcade and all that went with it. Well, we started up in Corner Brook on West Street. I visited the station once. We were right downtown, and we brought the technology of television to the West Coast cities. CJON St. John's, CJWN Corner Brook. We started in Corner Brook a day in June in 1959, and we look at the calendar now. We're reminded it was the 16th of June, and you know the 16th of June, that is this date in history. This is Jim Furlong for NTV News.
Birthdays and anniversaries brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation. We are the foundation that takes action so we all can take care of each other.
Beginning, first of all, this evening with this beautiful old photo of Lloyd and Elizabeth Cokes, of head of Bay Despair, celebrating a 59th wedding anniversary. Happy 54th anniversary to Lockhart and Joan Russell. They live in Victoria. Happy 50th anniversary to Johnny and Georgina Miles. Eric and Ada Evely celebrating a 64th wedding anniversary. Happy 59th anniversary going out to Percy and Rosanna Hunt. They live in Trinity, Bonavista Bay. Randy and Trixie Gibbons of Lumsden celebrating a 52nd anniversary. Happy 92nd birthday to Nita Crocker of Greens Harbor. Happy 63rd wedding anniversary to Phyllis and Junior Clark residing at Durrell. Happy 52nd wedding anniversary to Linda and Elwyn Rose. Congratulations to you. Catherine Mousseau is celebrating a 91st birthday. Happy 61st wedding anniversary to Henry and Mary Gover of Creston South. Elizabeth Betty Fitzgerald is celebrating a 91st birthday, originally from Belle Island, now living at the Bayview Heights Manor in Conception Bay South. Joan and Norman Stuckless of Lassie celebrating a 63rd anniversary. Happy 54th anniversary to Len and Linda Curtis. They live in Marystown. Bob and Sandy Linegar of Torbay celebrating a 52nd wedding anniversary. Happy 72nd anniversary going out to Gladys and Gerald Cutler. They live in Centerville. Congratulations to you on your 72nd anniversary. Happy 90th birthday to Frank Cashin in Mount Pearl. Gary and Ann Burt celebrating their 54th anniversary. Happy 96th birthday to Raymond Randall of Anglee, now living at Kingsway Living in Springdale. Congratulations to you, sir.
Well, it is a cool 5 degrees now. Fog moving in as it's been hovering all day. Today we've got rain moving in overnight, and that's going to continue into tomorrow. So if you are planning to come downtown for a little walkabout maybe this evening, I suggest you wear hat and mittens and a nice warm coat as well. Of course, we are here at the bottom of Solomon's Lane, and of course, let's hope for nicer, warmer weather for real downtown. If you want to get more information, downtownstjohns.com, or check all their socials. It's going to be a fun month of July with all of those fabulous outside movies. Have a great evening, everyone. We'll talk again.
Thanks so much, Sharon, and thanks to all of you for joining us tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour.
Stay with us. Up next on Global National, concerns about the U.S.-Iran peace deal. Good night.
Good night.